stop. So I was like, I don't know if I was saying something that I should have said. It was like, whoa, we got Kenosha. We got to, she going off filter pause.
No, not at all. We are here for you. We're here to,
The
we're
after
here to,
dark conversation. It was like, oh, it's Kenosha. But because sometimes I really bring some very hard discussions. I don't mind ripping the band-aid off. And sometimes that doesn't make me the most liked. But it's not about being the most liked. It's about making sure that I'm always showing up and champion for the right thing to do. And so I'm just always like, how can we work better together? Yes, the need is great in the tribal community. Yes, the need is great in the Black communities, right? And with that, like we shouldn't be pitting each community against each other, like, well, our stats are bigger, our stats are, and it's like, no, how do we make funders realize like, hey, you have your formulas wrong. You keep funding this as if mainstream was the priority, right? As if white women are the ones at risk. And we know that not to be true. While yes, they do receive some of the issue, and yes, they're oversaturated in our program's numbers, but we also understand why they are, right? And like really challenging the conversations and how does that look like? And so showing up for each other with or without a Kenosha in the room, what does that look like? And so really challenging and encouraging each other to be allies in spaces where I'm looking around the room and there's no one from the tribal community, but I feel that someone should be there, or if, and vice versa, right? Someone should be there, or it's like, hey, are we having this conversation without, fair representation all the way around, or we split that money that way 100 times already. How about if we tip it the other way? Is always my thing. It's like, well, if you want to right wrongs, start with cash, right? And then second, if you want to right wrong, okay, how do we move this from conversations to action? Right? Because here's me also telling people, please stop calling yourself an ally. That's a name that's given up, bestowed upon you. You are not. Let someone else call you that. Hey, let me introduce you to, she's an ally. They are an ally. Stop saying, hey, I'm Kenosha, I'm an ally. No, ma'am. Right? And so thinking about that, how do we move this from words and conversations and pleasantries to tangible action? And then back to one of my favorite words, the A word, accountability. What does that accountability look like for us? Now, if I pick up my phone and call and say, hey, Rebecca, the way in which you showed up was not helpful for me. Can we talk about that? Can we spend some time digesting that? And, because a lot of time, and not necessarily from Native women or individuals, so a lot of time I'm in meeting spaces and I get that DM like, girl, you are on fire. And I'm like, get out of my DM and put that into the room. Because that does not, cheerleading me behind closed doors does not help me at all. But cheerleading me out loud, putting that in the room, me too, like, oh yeah, I'm in agreement, or yes, this is exactly the way that we're supposed to be going. Any of those key phrases put into the room is very helpful to me. And so, looking at funding, looking at tangible actions, and then looking at accountability. And I will yield the floor. Thank you for your time.
thank you. It's Kenosha. Funding, tangible actions, and accountability. Mhm. Let's sit with that.
Thank you so much, Kenosha. I know we've been swimming in the same circles for a couple years now. It's good to see you. I'm really grateful for that. These days are so hard, right? In so many ways. 2022, we thought 2020 was going to be a bad year. And now we made it, we just jumped. It's been a long couple of years with tragedy and tensions and traumas and healing and pockets of folks warring against other pockets of folks, right? It's all those things. But I love what you said about accountability, because it is okay. I'm going to quote some Beastie Boys. I apologize. But the check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? That's love. If you love people, you can do that behind the scenes. You can uplift in front of folks, right? And then maybe say, hold on a second. I care enough to say, wait the F up, right? But it takes a lot of bravery to receive that. And that's something I think we can all do better on, right? So thank you.
Others want to respond to Kenosha and Artika's offerings?
I just, I'm sorry that my call got dropped somehow. My internet decided to shut down. So I missed part of Kenosha's talk. I think I missed the piece around tangible action. So I look forward to hearing from my coworkers. But that piece around accountability is so huge. And, we've talked a lot about, to me, love is about accountability. And if I love my community enough, or, like with your kids, right? Like if you love your kids enough, you're going to hold them accountable because it helps them to grow, right? And so when we really show up from a place of love, we can understand that accountability is a piece of that. And it helps all of us to grow beyond, hopefully. Some people, maybe not, but hopefully it helps us to grow beyond that. So I really appreciate the concept around accountability. And Artika, thank you for the reminder too, that we didn't just jump into this movement. Like, we started this movement, right? And like our communities and our grandmothers and our ancestors were doing this work long before there was a movement. And it was inherent within our cultural teachings and our cultural values around how we treated our people, how we treated each other. So I'm sitting with that. Thank you. Thank you both.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Christine. I was thinking about, and thank all women so much for this conversation. I was thinking about the power of words, and like the English language is so, I always say this all the time, that English has so much baggage with the words, right? So when you use different language, you get to the authentic meaning behind things. Or maybe the English definition of words is exactly as intended, right? And so thinking about, what I'm getting from this conversation and what we believe too, I believe at MIWSAC, we believe that like naming it as anti-Blackness does nobody any favors, right? But it's also a word that people are familiar with to some degree, like it's kind of gets thrown out there and talked about in a certain kind of way. So people are familiar with it, and we're trying to learn a new language, right? And so what I hear us saying in this group together is that we're trying to figure out that new language, and coming from a place of humanity, And for me, I believe that you do have to name it too. You can't wash it out. You got to be real about it, right? Anti-Blackness is a thing. It is real. But how do you get to like the teachings, like those origin teachings that Atun was talking about? So that was really beautiful for me. But with the word accountability, we have these conversations internally as well, that accountability has its own baggage with it. But what we are is trying to be relatives to one another. And that has a different vibe for me, that it's that thing about love, right? When you love somebody, you're going to be a good relative. You're going to come with that realness. And also you cannot backstep from like the realness of it either. So it's like a both and thing. What the other word for accountability is, I don't know, responsibility to one another. I don't know, be good relative. So yeah, those are just some thoughts that are swimming around in my head. Kenosha said, if you want to right the wrong, start with cash. that shit was funny. And it's not just cash, right? It's all the resources, all the kinds of resources. It's making room for the spirituality to come into the space. It's food. It's all the things. So there's, and cash matters, man, because we got to have the cash to do the work and to deepen it into community. So it does matter. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I thought I'd just kind of ramble it all out there, and then I'll mute. Miigwech.
Thank you, Kristen. Anyone else?
I have never
This is
heard. Sorry. Go ahead. We're always cutting Cinnamon off. She has a sketchy connection, so it's easy to just jump in ahead of her. And then once you're on a roll, you can just keep talking and say, okay, Cinnamon, but I'm going to yield and say, go ahead, Cinnamon.
Oh, thank you. I'm very delayed here. I'm Cinnamon. It's weighing heavy. The Harriet Tubman story, that some of that foundation, that origin story has been lost or morphed or twisted. And for me, one of the things that I heard was the importance of that remembering and holding on to, and the importance of that foundation piece, that origin story. So, and I think that's something that we can improve on with MIWSAC as well, and our own origin story, and that importance of, the people that brought it to its place, not just the people, but what it was that they were trying to do, right? What was that foundation that they wanted to hold together throughout that duration? And so, but it made me really sad to hear that even at the Harriet Tubman house, that it's not accurate or clear. And so, yeah, thank you. And I agree. I think we have such similarities as far as our relationship with the Creator and the missionaries, and and with what Rebecca had just shared as well. So thank you. I'm just taking it in.
Thank you, Cinnamon. Linda?
I too, like last night, we're in the midst of something as an organization and as sisters in having a response to our people, or not, I'm not sure. But the word about accountability And it's sticking with me too. Like, it's hard going down my throat because we have so many people in our communities that don't even know what happened. There's so much trying to survive. And so until we bring more understanding, education, and there's lots of arrogance out there that we are having to deal with. And as long as I know where somebody's standing by the actions that they're doing and the motives of their heart, that maybe I misunderstand, I give lots and lots and lots of chances, not just to other people, but to myself, because it is a challenge to get up and to not be how this society could make you, which could really piss you off. But and that's a motivator for some people. They can do a lot of stuff when they're mad, like clean house or whatever. They can do a lot of stuff and put their energy into chopping wood or doing something physical for the way I am feeling inside. Whether I think it starts with the healing parts, and as more things happen, and they do, or more things, more ouches are exposed, and whether intentional or not intentional, they are brought to light, then there's a healing. Otherwise, we create more division. And we need all of our sisters to have the same understanding and the disparities that are real, and that who does that really serve? And if we're not able to do the amount of work with the amount of money that we need, and I could see how people at Harriet Tubman could get sucked up into that system, not meaning to and not understanding how it happened, but we're losing our way. And that's what woke us up. And what wakes us up is we don't want to stay lost. We want to know who we are, and we're struggling in a place that there's so many policies and so many rules on how you are going to be. We don't want to do that to other people, because we know the feeling that it brings, and we know the hardship, and we know that it takes us out of here early. We have lower life expectation, higher rates of disease, all that stuff that goes along with it. And so we're trying to counter it, but it's like a struggle every single day to get up. And sometimes it's easier. I am not a college educated woman. I don't have a master of social work. I do not have even, to be honest, an AA degree. But what I do have is a lifetime, 60 years now of living in this body with this and with this, and knowing how the world treats me and my family, including my kids. And I know there's people that don't even think we're human. And it's been said right to my face, so I know those, and I know there was a healing, and it's continuous healing when I watch the things that happen to my grandkids in the school system set up by something that they're not functioning well in. We're not making robots. So I want us to look, if possible, in myself. I can only really hold myself accountable in how I am functioning as a spirit on this journey. And we are all spirits, and a spirit does not have a blood quantum, does not have, I don't even think of sex. And I love the talk of who we are and who we were, because we still are that. So how I started a program on the res, never living on the res in my life. I'm from the city. It is different to be in a reservation and have closed communication. And I did not know what I was doing, but I do know how to love. I do. And I know how to show it. Even if this world ain't loving to me and to my family, I want to show it regardless. And so I went and I said a prayer, and I kept saying a prayer. Sometimes I prayed several times during the day because of the stuff I was seeing and the things and the funerals I went to of children that were not validated because of their trauma, and that we were falling into the system and believing the bullshit that was being fed to us from the time we were babies about how bad we are. And I don't believe it. And I know nobody on this call believes it, but we are dealing with our own communities who get sucked into it. And it's not good to fight amongst ourselves for anything. You know, we have to be able to identify what happened and stay on task. And when one of us starts veering off to the left, kindly, gently pull us back or wait for us. Don't be mad and fire us. Or say, you're out. Which is easy to happen in a country, in a world that dismisses you. You still count if you're not doing everything according to these policies that somebody made. We're even trying to recreate our policies. But you know, there's all these mandates about the money we're working with, and we're trying to be mindful of that. And to do all of it, we need help to balance. So I have the trouble with accountability, because how do we live when there is no freaking accountability for the people who are doing the real harm? And we could, you know, we can hold ourselves accountable. We want to hold the systems accountable, and individuals who violate us accountable, and our sisters, our kids, our communities, with telling the truth. Like, yeah, don't inbox Kenosha. Say it. Get off mute and say it. Say your truth, even if your whole flipping body is shaking. And I have been that person, and sure that I was the only one who felt like that, and then was humiliated or degraded when somebody caught me in the hallway and said, oh, did you put your foot in your mouth again? I was like, I don't think so, but if you think so, whatever, I guess. And how much comfort people seek, having the patience and the love for the people who are held by fear. Even the strong Christians that are scared of retaliation with the loss of money, or the strong spiritual leaders that are scared because they might challenge somebody who holds the purse strings, when in reality, a lot of that money is ours because we pay taxes, which, by the way, natives do pay taxes, which I have to go and tell people because they think we don't do anything. Anyway, I got so much feelings about all of this. And I'm really glad we're having these conversations, and we're on a learning continuum. And I heard it even continues when we leave these bodies. But I'm never heard Kenosha speak. I've never heard Artika speak. I've never heard Mother speak. And I am just in awe. I'm sitting here in my office, and we have a thing where we make ties of offerings, and you know, I'm going to go ask a woman older than myself to do something for us, and I have to go with respect. I hope that we always remember when we go into somebody's place or into their circles that we are respectful, even if that means I might not know the right things to say, but that I know when to talk and when to be quiet, because we're always going to be learning. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you.
Linda, thank you so much. I just appreciate your honesty, and always admired your work as I've been able to witness some of the wonderful projects that you work on. And I see Brother Malcolm X behind you, and it reminds me of By Any Means Necessary. And I feel like that's where I'm at in the movement. If I have to be humiliated, if I have to speak up when no one else is speaking up, if I have tears, if I come with joy, because sometimes our joy is not welcomed either. All of those things I need to show up in those ways. And I appreciate the way that you talk about systems as well. And I have a mentor, Sam Simmons, that says sometimes that sometimes systems aren't made to specifically to get at you. Sometimes systems are made in order to make the system work. And the consequence is that we suffer from those policies and practices, but there wasn't an intentional effort to come after you with that system. It's just that that's how that system works. And we know that our systems are often not created with us in mind to have good outcomes for us. But we also have to recognize in our current climate, when systems are made to disenfranchise us and be willing to speak out against that as well. And often those things happen and we're gaslighted in the process. So we know that that's coming at you to disenfranchise you, but we're going to tell you another story to make you believe that that's not what our purpose was. And I think that as we meet with systems and players in systems, as Kenosha said, is that we got to come and say that we see that, I feel that we're being gaslighted, and we know that you understand that this policy or this practice is going to disenfranchise us at a higher level. And then also, I think it's been mentioned on this call a few times about our funding. And our funding is problematic at the best because I think it just continues to perpetuate scarcity, lack, and disenfranchisement. And we continue to, in order to make sure our staff is paid and that we're doing the work and that we're showing up in ways for folks that are helpful, we continue to sign on to these contracts that say we'll give you everything in the kitchen sink plus more. And so would like to invest, how do we stand up against that as Kenosha talks about our funding, that we are signing on to funding that's not helpful and most often sometimes harmful to the work and how we show up for our folks in our community.
Yeah, and if I may add to that, and how do we ensure that the funding doesn't become a distraction? A lot of time it can be like they grab the funding, they say, all right, culturally specific and travel, look over there, right? And so we're scampering over there, and then all of this is happening. Policies, a new practice, a new something, like there's some tomfoolery happening over here. And then we've been so distracted about fighting over the dollars that now there's a whole nother process that locks us out in a different way. And so it's like, yes, the funding, and it becomes, we have to begin to ask at what cost, what are you willing, at what cost? One of the things that was probably fresh for some people here in Minnesota, when I began to make changes within the organization, I said, yes, SVC has been a mainstream organization, but we're going to do some things differently. And if I can't be a part of things that where I'm holding systems accountable, then I don't want any part of it. You can keep your money. You may find a different provider. And I had conversations with funders, and there's like, you say what now? I said, no. If I can't do this in a way in which I want to be able to hold people accountable, you may find a different provider. Oh, no. We want SVC. Oh, good. If you want us, these are the things that you must be willing to do. Yes, they have the money. They have the cookie. We can follow it, or we can say, hey, I'll take your cookie, but in return for taking your cookie, because this makes y'all look good, like really understanding what our values are. This cleans up your state. This cleans up this helps improve outcomes here. In order for me to do this, this is what I need for you all to do for me. And sometimes people walk away, they're upset with Kenosha. Oh my goodness, here she comes. She's so angry. No, she's not angry. She knows her value. And I'm okay with walking away. It's like when you go to the car lot. Oh, I really want that car, but I'm not going to let them know it. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I've seen something across the street. I'll holler back at you guys. Oh, well, wait. Oh, you can pony up money or work with corrections. I tell you what, we're oversaturated in corrections. You guys haven't been able to put up any money. So we're going to do something differently. We're going to focus more on community. And then magically, all our correctional partners came with money. I was like, well, gee gosh, where was this hiding at? What stone did y'all get this from under? Oh, so you had money. Petrified my staff here. They were like, she just train wrecking everything. No, no, no. I know value. I have value. I'm not begging for anything. This is an investment. And if you want to invest in our services and our work, this is what it's going to take. And so we really have to look at, how do we flip the narrative? How do we, no, we don't need your money. This state has a critical issue. How do you plan to fund that and address that in a meaningful way? Oh, you're going to fund tribal and culturally specific programs. Wonderful of you. We're not asking for the money. This state has an issue. And you guys need to do it. Nobody's going to want to come here and see the Vikings if they think they're going to be harmed. Nobody wants to come and see the Timberwolves if there's going to be a greater risk. Nobody wants more diversity here. No, not if it means that we're going to be at a greater risk for harm. So, state, what are you willing to do? You know, how do we change the narrative? And, you know, and pushing back and saying, hey, keep your little money. I don't need it. And it hasn't been too many people that took me up on that offer not to fund me. Oh, you want me to take your money? Oh, let me think about it and get back to you. Because I sometimes don't take the first offer when given. You know, and so how can we do it differently? I mean, we're at a pivotal time in our movement where we can really make a change if we so choose to, that tangible action piece, right? Or we can keep doing what has been done many times before us, talking the talk, we get together, it's all well-meaning, but then it's like, I have all these other things to do, right? But one of the things that I also made clear to my board in coming here, yes, I will be your ED, but I also have a greater mission and calling. And that's ensuring that women that look like me are in places of leadership, and that I'm always active, like I'm actively championed for women of color in this movement. And so that requires me to do some things that are not necessarily SVC. And I need you to be okay with that, or I cannot come and work for you. So you decide if you want me to come and work for you, because if I come and work for you, these are my requirements. You know, when we look at some people may say, well, you know, like, oh, well, Kenosha has this Kenosha just has learned to talk the game. And sometimes it's not about these pleasantries. Here's the hard facts. People are a danger in your state. And what are you prepared to do? Are you going to continue to let this happen? This is on you. The harm is on your backs. I go to sleep at night just fine because I know that I'm doing all I can to prevent it. What are you as a funder? What are you as a representative doing to prevent? Oh, not much or nothing. Continue to give to the mainstream organizations that are whitewashing everything. Oh, how's that working? Has it done any, is it working? Is it? Oh, okay. And holding them accountable. Like not to, what was it, last year or the year before last, when Cecilia kind of got us all on Zoom and in the room at the OJP conference. This must be different. I mean, she just really let us have it. Well, is it different? Is it different? What have you done to assure it? Have you started pulling funding? Because here's me, pull the funding. And if SVC falls upon that qualification, get it. Dare you. Take the money back. That's what I always tell the funder. You keep saying if there aren't diversity in the demographics that you're going to be pulling, so pull it. Oh, you don't want to do it. Make folks upset. Pity, but I'll yield.
Oh my gosh, Kenosha, I love you so much. Yes, to everything you said. We've been talking for so many years about how we are always held up to mainstream, i.e. white standards that don't fit our communities, that don't reflect the work that needs to be done. We're always overcommitting. We have to do 10 times more, and so afraid of saying no, because so afraid that we will be shut out, just like so many other tribal programs, culturally specific programs have been before. So yes, thank you. That was, yes, all of that.
Yes, indeed. There's not much to be added to that, to none of this. This has been so powerful. I'm asking in the chat if you would, as we're closing, to put words of hope for our work together that we can carry forward. I mean, this, I'm repeating this, but it's the truth. I just have so much gratitude for this opportunity and to hear this wisdom coming forward. There's nothing like strategy. And I think that it is so important for us to create strategy. Remember these issues about language. And as Sister Artika was talking about, we've always been here. I think as we're going forth, I would like for us to remember ancestors who have come through and done this work and how we are still moving about and living about those things that they gave us at that time, those nuggets, bring those nuggets forth and make sure that we're being accountable in that way as well. We're very rich and enriched by what our ancestors have given us. So thank you so much. I know that Nicole has to go. She's got a meeting that she has to attend at this time. And others of us have things that we have to do as well. Is there someone who would like to have last words? And then we can, it was Kenosha saying, flip the script. Yes, flip it. I said, flip that script. But is there someone who would like to share last words? And you know that you're always welcome to share last words if you're up to it this morning.
I had so much, we're getting ready to leave to go to Violence Free Minnesota for that. They've made magnets that will have the names of those who lost their lives. That so we want to make sure. I've never done that. I've never gone over there when they did this. So it's still happening where we're expanding and supporting, and when we think we're too busy, we just take some time and go do it, right? I'm always inspired when somebody has that energy. Everybody has their own energy and brings their own spirit forward, but when you're identifying the things that are right at the surface, that people are so overwhelmed with everything they can't identify probably two. So Kenosha's got them alphabetized. No, I don't know. It's good. It's inspirational for me. I feel good about it. So, and I can't wait to know more and hear more. And it's so much against like our culture to say those kind of things, because we're supposed to be quiet and be humble and speak the truth, but when the time is right. But we sit and wait too much time, and so much more has happened. So I know our people went forward. Some of the women and men that were raised in the boarding schools and changed the laws that were hurting and harming people. They got educated, they went and told the truth, and got enough people to listen to them to change it and develop more laws that were more problematic with ICWA, Indian Child Welfare Act. But for the violence against women, there were Native women that learned the language of the oppressor in the legal form way that they communicate. And once you know those things, then they're not expecting to. Most of us have to know things way more, to even be considered somewhat listenable, where people listen. We got to do twice the work. So yeah, that's good for my soul. Good for all of us. But I'm going to have this medicine, and I'm just going to ask that the Dakota people also, I spent 20 years with them, and I am Anishinaabe, but I have so much respect, because if I didn't immerse myself in their community, I wouldn't have, and they let me be immersed with them, and they accepted me and my family as their family. So I'm so grateful. You never know why things are happening the way they do, but there is something on this journey that comes to light later. But I want to say grandfather and grandmother and all of our ancestors that step forward to help us when we need them, whether it's just in energy or comforting or support or knowledge that we didn't have before that second. Ask that you continue to be a part of this journey with us, and that we acknowledge and remember that as we walk humbly, but with the truth and a voice that you gave us while we have this sacred life, which is limited. Help us to do our best every single day and to support each other in places that we can be there wholeheartedly. The places in us that we have yet to learn, I ask that you help us to do it, not with anger, but with curiosity and hope that I will be better after all of this. And I will know more about, we'll never have all the answers to all the questions and all the reasons why things happened. But I ask that you help us to walk forward with hope and with light, and that where there is things happening that aren't right, that we bring it up and not be held or bound by fear or by rejection, but that we walk in the truth of why we're here. It's not about ego or to be right. It's about our people and about what is happening and about the violence that is just going on and on. I ask that you be with us for the rest of our day and help us take away good energy from this time together in this sacred circle. Some of us have families. I ask that you watch over those families, and some of us have driven, watch over our rides to and from wherever we're going. Some of us are walking with grief, a great grief for the loss of a loved one. And for sure, the people that are grieving for the families that have lost their loved one, for this memorial this morning, or this procession that's going to take place. As that you help us to always remember why we're doing what we're doing and who it's for. I know the Dakota call everything Shka. They didn't have Wakantaka is the great mystery, because they couldn't define that energy, but the Shka is all of it. Help us to remember our connectedness and to greet each other as spirits with smiles and with hope that we have identified an ally, if they call us an ally. I ask that you help us to remember to laugh and to smile and laugh at ourselves at times, because we've survived a lot. I thank you for each life that is here listening. I ask this for all of my relations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Linda.
I'm gonna go.
Okay, so yes, we are better as of this today. And thank you, everyone. Nana, I'm so glad to see your face, and I will give you a shout out a little bit later today. and also to Rebecca. I'll give you a shout out later today as well. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a great and thankful Tuesday today. Thank you, Artika. Thank you, Kenosha.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Peace and light.
Bye.
Thank you.